In the last couple of lessons, we've been talking about chords and developing this ability that we want to be able to play chords effortlessly anywhere on the piano keyboard. And I've shown you the first couple of steps to developing that ability. It involves using these 5-finger drills, or what I call tonal 5-finger drills, because we do it in all 7 harmonic environments of the major scale. Using this exercise to mold your hand, to teach your hand what these scale fragments look like and feel like in every key on the piano. This is the ability that we're going to use today to actually start playing these chords that we've been talking about. Because if you can feel the first 5 notes of any harmonic environment, then it becomes a very simple thing to just play the root and the third and the fifth, producing the triad. And that's the first chord concept or chord type that we need to learn. And so we're gonna go back to the key of C just to show you how the exercise works. We're gonna practice this in a certain way, and I think the easiest way to understand and remember how we practice it is to think that this is not an exercise where we're reviewing something that we already know. This is an exercise where you're learning something that for most people will be brand new to you. And so it's not about just executing it and getting through the exercise and checking it off your list. It's about actually learning, discovering, and remembering what you find along the way. And so that'll, if you just keep that goal in mind, I think that'll help you sort of guide yourself toward the most effective way of practicing. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So going back to the first harmonic environment in the key of C, I'll start with my 5-finger drill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll play that a couple times. Then I'm just going to very calmly play just note 1, then note 3, and then note 5. And then I'll play the entire chord, meaning 1, 3, 5 simultaneously in both the left hand and the right hand. And if you've been doing your 5-finger drills, then this shouldn't be too difficult for you to coordinate. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move up to the second harmonic environment. I'm going to use note 2 as the tonal center, and I'm going to go through the same process, starting with the 5-finger drill. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. And now I'm going to play just the root, third, and fifth of this harmonic environment. So that means 2, and then 4, and then 6, and then all together. But here's then what I would encourage you to do. I would go back one step. Go back to the first harmonic environment. You don't necessarily have to do the 5-finger drill again. Do the 5-finger drill if you need it to guide you to the notes of the triad. If you need to refresh your memory about what those chord notes were, then by all means use the 5-finger drill. But as soon as you're able to remember what those notes of the triad were, then just switch from one triad to the other. This is the 1 chord, 1, 3, 5. And this is the 2 chord, 2, 4, and 6. Then we'll move on. We'll go to 3. Using note 3 as the tonal center, the first 5 notes of this harmonic environment are going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. And now I'll play just the chord notes that I'm interested in. 3, and then 5, and then 7. And I'll play that chord all together. And now remember, I'm always going to go back and try to patch that up with the adjacent chords. So can I remember what the 2 chord looked like? In the key of C, it's super easy because it's all just the white keys. But in other keys, I think you already understand that this is going to be a little more complex, right? Because you'll have black keys and white keys to navigate. So we want to connect the 3 chord to the 2 chord. And then maybe go back down to the 1 chord. So we're using the 5-finger drill just to remind our hands, to like sync up our hands with the shape of that particular scale fragment. But then what we're really interested in doing is we want to liberate the triad from that 5-finger drill. We want to pull it out of there and just play the triad. The 3 chord, the 2 chord, and the 1 chord. And etc. We're going to go through all 7 harmonic environments of the major scale in this way. When I get to 4, and I'll play just 4, and then 6, and then 1. That's my triad of the 4 chord. Then Then I'll go back and I'll work to connect that with 3. I'll go back to 4. Go back down to 3, maybe down to 2. Okay, and I'll show this in a minute in another key so you can see something more interesting. But again, I gotta really emphasize that point. We are not practicing something we already know how to do. We are discovering something for the first time. That means there's a very counterintuitive dynamic here, which is that the more slowly you play, the faster you'll learn the lessons. I like to use the example of like getting to know a physical place. Like if you imagine being out for a Sunday drive and you're just driving very calmly and very slowly around, you know, whatever neighborhood or region, you're gonna remember a lot more about that region. You're gonna notice more things and it's gonna stay with you, versus if you were flying through that region at 150 miles an hour, you wouldn't have time to see anything. And so don't give in to whatever voice you have in your head telling you that you should be executing this stuff faster and we gotta move on to the next thing, the next thing. That's all totally false. That you can learn to play all 7 triads very naturally in all 12 keys in an incredibly short amount of time, like maybe today. But the key is to go through it slowly enough that you actually learn the lessons and discover all these connections. There are shapes, geometric shapes that you have to notice, and that those shapes are what is gonna like kind of help you understand the logic of harmony and how all these things fit together. We need to go through this very slowly and calmly and enjoy it in order to make those discoveries. And so that's my word of advice to you. Let's look at this in a different key so you get to see a little bit more of the complexity that comes up when we have black keys and white keys involved. So for example, I'll go down to B flat. Now if B flat is my 1, first I'll do my tonal 5-finger drill in the first harmonic environment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now remember, I'm just gonna play 1, and then 3, and then 5. Okay, so it's a different shape. I've got 1 black key, my root is up on a black key, my 3rd and 5th are down on white keys, and I'm just gonna have to remember that. If I have to go back to the 5-finger drill to refresh my memory of what this whole region looks like, then I can do that. And what I'm trying to abstract out of it, what I'm trying to pull out of that 5-finger drill is just this triad of 1, 3, and 5. Then I'm gonna move up to note 2. I'll start with the 5-finger drill to remember what 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 looks like. And now I'm just gonna play 2 and 4 and 6. And now can I remember what 1, 3, and 5 looked like? And then can I go directly to 2, 4, 6? Can I feel the 1 chord? And can I feel the 2 chord? This is actually a great moment to even start thinking about playing without looking at the piano. We'll get more into that later, but as the music gets more complex, you will get to a point where it's actually easier to keep track of what both hands are doing if you don't look at the piano keyboard, but we'll talk about that later. So that's the exercise. Take it slow. Remember, the pattern here, or the formula for success here, is to first pick a key. We're going to go through all 7 harmonic environments of that key because we're trying to learn how to play all 7 chords of that key. So we're not doing a lot of changing keys. We'll only change keys after the entire exercise is done. We pick 1 key and we'll go through harmonic environment by harmonic environment, starting with 1. And we'll start with the 5-finger drill so that you can remember what that shape looked like. What's the contour of that region, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then from there, we'll pull out our 1, 3, 5. We move to the next harmonic environment, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Use the 5-finger drill to remember what that region looked like. Then just pull out your 2, 4, 6. Then go back to the 1. Go back to the 1 chord, 1, 3, 5. Go back to the 2 chord, 2, 4, 6. 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 6. This is how you're gonna learn to connect all this together in your mind, and you'll learn 10 times faster than if you just keep plowing forward without doing that work to go back and connect to the adjacent chord. So practice that, have fun with it, be calm, enjoy these beautiful sounds, try to keep your hands relaxed and try to notice even what it feels like physically in your wrists and your fingers to play all these triads, because that's a huge part of our memory, is our muscle memory. And just see how far you get with that and how automatic you can make that. And then in the next lesson, we're gonna do the same thing with this that we did with the 5-finger drills, which is I'm gonna teach you how to break it out of the harmonic context, and we'll learn to just project this stuff anywhere.